Imagine waking up one morning to discover that something you thought would always be there has suddenly vanished. Not food, not water, but something that powers your phone, charges your electric car, makes your solar panels work, and sits quietly in almost every piece of technology you touch. In just 47 days, 37.6 million ounces of silver disappeared from the world's biggest storage vaults, and almost nobody noticed. This is not a story about pirates stealing treasure or banks hiding gold. This is the story of a modern crisis happening right now in plain sight while the world sleeps. This is the story of the silver shortage that could change everything about how we live, what we buy, and whether the future we imagine can even exist. The metal that built tomorrow. Silver is not like gold. Gold sits in vaults and looks pretty. Gold is for showing off, for making crowns and coins that prove someone is rich. But silver works. Silver is the quiet hero of the modern world, the metal that makes things run. Every smartphone in your pocket has silver inside. Every computer screen glowing in an office has silver. Every solar panel catching sunlight on a rooftop needs silver to turn that light into electricity. Silver conducts electricity better than any other metal on Earth. It conducts heat better than almost anything else. It reflects light like a perfect mirror. It kills bacteria naturally, which is why hospitals use it in bandages and medical tools. For hundreds of years, people knew silver was special, but they mostly used it for coins and jewelry. Then everything changed. The world entered the age of technology, and suddenly, silver was not just special, it was necessary. Electric cars need silver for their battery systems and circuit boards. Wind turbines use silver to connect their generators. 5G networks spreading across the planet require silver in their equipment. Green energy, the future everyone talks about saving the planet, cannot exist without silver. But here is the problem nobody wanted to admit. There is not enough silver to build all these dreams. Not anymore. The vaults begin to empty. The story really begins in the storage facilities scattered across the world, massive warehouses where silver bars sit stacked on metal shelves waiting to be bought and shipped to factories. The biggest of these vaults is the COMEX, the Commodity Exchange in New York, where traders buy and sell silver contracts every single day. For years, these vaults stayed full. Silver flowed in from mines, sat in storage, and flowed out to manufacturers who needed it. The system worked. Everyone assumed it would keep working forever. Then something strange started happening. In early 21, a group of ordinary people on the internet began talking about silver. They were not bankers or billionaires. They were regular folks who believed the price of silver was being kept artificially low by big institutions. They started buying physical silver, real coins and bars they could hold in their hands, not just paper contracts that promised silver existed somewhere. At first, the banks and trading houses laughed. What could a bunch of random people on Reddit possibly do to the global silver market? But the laughter stopped when the silver started disappearing. In just 47 days, from late January through mid-March, 37.6 million ounces of silver were withdrawn from the COMEX vaults. That is more than 1,000 metric tons of metal gone, shipped out, bought up, vanished into private hands. The shelves that had always been full suddenly had gaps. The system that always worked started making strange creaking noises like an old bridge with too much weight on it. The mines cannot keep up. While silver poured out of the vaults, people started asking an obvious question. Why not just dig up more silver? The earth has silver in it. Mines exist. Problem solved, right? Wrong. Silver mining is not like turning on a faucet. You cannot just decide to mine more silver tomorrow because you need it today. Most silver does not even come from silver mines. About 70% of all silver mined on Earth comes out of the ground as a byproduct of mining other metals like copper, lead, and zinc. When companies dig for copper, they find some silver mixed in and extract it as a bonus. This means silver production is tied to the production of other metals. If the world does not need more copper, silver production does not increase much either. Even the mines that do focus on silver cannot ramp up quickly. Opening a new mine takes years. You have to find the silver, which means exploring and testing. Then you need permits from governments, which can take forever. Then you have to build the actual mine, hire workers, buy equipment, and set up processing facilities. From the moment someone discovers silver in the ground to the moment that silver reaches a factory, 5 to 10 years might pass. The world needed more silver right now, but the mining industry was stuck in slow motion. Every year, the world uses more silver than miners dig up. This has been true for years. The gap between what we use and what we mine gets filled by recycling old electronics and by pulling silver out of those storage vaults. But recycling cannot keep up with demand either. Old phones and computers contain tiny amounts of silver, and collecting and processing them costs money. When the vaults started emptying, people realized the safety net was disappearing. The price that refuses to explode. Here is where the story gets weird. When something becomes scarce, the price should shoot up. Supply and demand, the most basic rule of economics. When 37 million ounces vanish in 47 days, when mines cannot keep up, When every car company and solar panel manufacturer needs more silver, the price should explode. But it did not. Silver prices went up a little bit. Sure, they jumped around, got people excited for a moment, then fell back down. The price stayed stubbornly low, confusingly low, making no sense compared to what was actually happening with physical silver. This is where people started talking about paper silver versus real silver. In the financial world, most silver trading happens through paper contracts. These are promises that silver exists and will be delivered if you want it. But most people never ask for delivery. They just trade the paper back and forth, making bets on whether the price will go up or down. One estimate suggested that for every single ounce of physical silver that actually exists, there might be 100 ounces of paper silver being traded. The paper market is enormous, far bigger than the real metal market. When big banks and institutions trade these paper contracts, they can influence the price. If they sell huge amounts of paper silver, the price goes down, even if physical silver is actually disappearing from warehouses. People buying real silver found themselves in a bizarre situation. They could not find silver coins to buy. Dealers were sold out. Premiums, the extra cost above the official silver price, skyrocketed to 30 or 40%. But the official price barely moved. It was like being in a store where the shelves are empty, but the price tags say everything is on sale. Industry starts to panic. While investors and internet traders argued about prices and manipulation, another group started to worry. The manufacturers, the companies that actually need physical silver to make their products. A solar panel company in California discovered their silver supplier could not deliver on time. A car manufacturer in Germany heard that silver for their electric vehicle circuit boards would cost more and take longer to arrive. A medical supply company found that the silver they used in antimicrobial bandages was suddenly harder to get. These were not financial games. These were real products that real people needed, and the silver was not there. Some industries started hoarding. If you are a factory manager and you hear silver might become scarce, you order extra now, even if you do not need it yet. This hoarding made the shortage worse. It created a cycle where fear of shortage caused actual shortage. Companies that never worried about silver before suddenly had entire teams dedicated to securing their silver supply. Contracts were signed years in advance. Prices were locked in, backup suppliers were found. Silver had gone from an afterthought to a critical concern. The green energy revolution, the thing that was supposed to save the planet, suddenly looked vulnerable. How do you cover the world with solar panels if you cannot get enough silver? How do you replace gas-powered cars with electric vehicles if the circuit boards need silver you cannot find? The future started to look less certain. The silent crisis spreads. What made this crisis strange was how quiet it remained. Stock markets crashed sometimes, and everyone talked about it. Oil shortages happened, and gas lines appeared on the news. But silver? Most people had no idea anything was wrong. The average person does not think about silver. They do not know it is in their phone or their laptop. They do not realize their car's electrical system depends on it. Silver is invisible, hidden inside the devices we use every day, and so its disappearance was invisible too. But people who paid attention saw the signs everywhere. Online dealers of silver coins put up notices saying they were out of stock or had long delays. Some stopped taking new orders entirely. The premium prices for physical silver coins and bars stayed high month after month. Normally these premiums would come down after a spike, but they stayed elevated because demand never stopped. People who wanted to buy silver for investment faced frustration. People who needed silver for manufacturing faced delays and higher costs. Meanwhile, the vaults kept draining. Not as dramatically as those first 47 days, but steadily, week after week. The COMEX inventory numbers, which anyone could look up online, showed a slow decline. Other storage facilities around the world reported similar patterns. Silver was leaving the system, and not enough new silver was coming in to replace it. Some analysts started using scary words like supply crunch and structural deficit. They warned that this was not a temporary problem. This was a fundamental imbalance that could last for years. The geopolitical silver war. Silver is not spread evenly around the world. A few countries dominate the mining. Mexico is the biggest producer, followed by China and Peru. Russia and Australia produce significant amounts too. This means silver supply is tied to international politics. If relations between countries sour, if trade restrictions appear, if mines get nationalized or shut down for political reasons, the silver flow can stop. Some nations started to realize silver was strategic. China, already the world's factory and a major player in green energy technology, began keeping more of its silver at home instead of exporting it. Why sell silver to other countries if you need it for your own solar panels and electronics? Russia, facing sanctions from Western nations, had silver mines but also had reasons to use silver as leverage. Mexico, dealing with internal political changes, saw debates about whether foreign companies should be allowed to mine Mexican silver. Suddenly, silver was not just an industrial commodity, it was a piece on the global chessboard. Countries that wanted to lead the green energy revolution needed to secure silver supplies. Trade deals started including provisions about mineral access. Strategic reserves were discussed. Some analysts compared it to the oil shocks of the 1970s, when Middle Eastern countries controlled oil supplies and used them as political weapons. Could silver become the new oil? Could countries that controlled silver mines control the future of technology? These questions started appearing in government reports and think tank studies, even if they never made the evening news. The environmental irony. One of the cruelest ironies of the silver shortage is that it threatens the very thing that increased demand in the first place, the green energy transition. The world wants to stop using fossil fuels. Leaders meet at climate conferences and promise to cut carbon emissions. Companies advertise their commitment to sustainability. Everyone agrees we need more solar panels, more wind turbines, more electric vehicles. But all of this requires silver. A typical solar panel needs about 20 grams of silver. That does not sound like much until you multiply it by the billions of panels needed to power the world. An electric vehicle uses far more silver than a traditional gas car because of all the electronics and battery management systems. The more we try to go green, the more silver we need. But getting more silver means more mining, and mining damages the environment. Silver mines create waste rock, use huge amounts of water, and can contaminate soil and rivers if not managed carefully. So we face a paradox. To save the environment, we need green technology. To build green technology, we need silver. To get silver, we harm the environment through mining. Some researchers are desperately looking for alternatives. Can we make solar panels that use less silver or different materials entirely? Can we design electronics that rely on more abundant metals? The answer is maybe, eventually, but not right now. The technology we have today needs silver, and changing that takes time we might not have. What happens when it runs out? The most frightening question is the simplest one. What happens if we actually run out of available silver? Not all the silver in the earth, but the silver we can access and afford to mine? Some estimates suggest that at current usage rates, easily accessible silver deposits might be significantly depleted within a couple of decades. This does not mean silver disappears from Earth. It means the easy silver is gone, and what remains is deeper, harder to reach, mixed with other rocks, and far more expensive to extract. When that happens, prices will have to rise dramatically. Some products will become more expensive. Other products might not get made at all. Industries will be forced to find substitutes or redesign their technology. The transition will be painful and chaotic. Some experts argue this will force innovation. When resources become scarce, humans get creative. We will find new materials, new designs, new ways to do things without silver. Others worry that the transition will not happen fast enough, that we will hit a wall where factories cannot get the silver they need and production simply stops. The truth is probably somewhere in between. Some industries will adapt, others will struggle. Prices will rise, alternatives will emerge slowly, but there will be years, maybe decades, of difficulty and adjustment. The silver shortage is not an apocalypse, but it is a fundamental challenge to our technological civilization. The conclusion that changes everything. The story of 47 days and 37.6 million ounces of vanished silver is not really about silver at all. It is about something much bigger and more important. It is about how modern civilization runs on resources we barely think about until they are gone. It is about the gap between the future we imagine and the physical reality of what that future requires. It is about the hidden costs of progress and the uncomfortable truth that infinite growth might not be possible on a finite planet. The silver shortage happened quietly, almost invisibly, but it revealed deep cracks in the foundation of our technological world. We assumed the materials we needed would always be there when we wanted them. We assumed mines could always produce more, that vaults would always be full, that prices would always make sense. We were wrong. The people who pulled silver out of those vaults in 47 days, whether they knew it or not, exposed a system running on borrowed time. They showed that physical reality eventually catches up with financial games, that you cannot create real metal by trading paper, that nature's limits are real and cannot be wished away by clever market manipulation. Now we face a choice that will define the next several decades. We can acknowledge this crisis, change how we use silver, invest in alternatives, design a sustainable path forward even if it means slower growth and harder choices. Or we can ignore it, pretend everything is fine, keep building technology that needs silver we do not have, and wait for the day when the shortage becomes impossible to ignore because factories stop producing and the devices we depend on cannot be made. The silver shortage no one is talking about is a mirror showing us our own reflection. It shows a civilization that built an impressive future on materials we did not fully appreciate, using more than nature can easily provide, hoping that somehow it would all work out. Whether it does work out depends entirely on what we do next. The clock is ticking, the vaults are emptying, and the metal that built tomorrow might not be there when tomorrow comes. This is not just a story about silver, this is a story about us, about the choices we make, and about whether we are wise enough to see the crisis before it becomes a catastrophe. The 47 days are over, but the consequences are just beginning.